folks, and welcome back to another Pinal Prep Spotlight brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. As we did last week, we gave you guys our top three baseball team picks for the season. So this week we're going to transition over to softball. David, let's kick things off. Which is your first team to keep an eye on this year?
Yeah, we're going to kick things right off with the reigning 4A runner-ups, Vista Grande. Vista Grande is coming off of that championship appearance last year, and although they didn't come home with the trophy and they, of course, lost some senior talent, this team is still very good in their prime to make a comeback, I think. So for the first girl for me to watch out for is Selena Perez. She had a monster junior season last year. She batted .625 in 68 plate appearances, 40 hits, 31 RBIs. She's already off to a hot start in 2022. She's currently batting .524. Already has 2 homers on the year as well, and she had 4 altogether last season. So she's on a great track record right now, and she's going to be a huge piece for them going forward. And for me, though, it's going to come down to pitching this year. Elisa Tinen went crazy last year, a 1.21 ERA, 174 strikeouts, so she is huge for them when it comes to the pitching side. But the question is, can they find a supporting cast around her? So basically, for me, it's going to come down to Ramos. She's a newcomer on the team. She's a freshman, has done quick work of getting herself into the rotation. And the pitchers they haven't been too great this year right now. They're a little bit lackadaisical, but I think that'll come around quickly as long as they can get back into a rhythm. And I expect them to be competing for another state championship this year.
All right, so having covered Vista Grande a lot last year, a couple things have changed this year. For starters, they have a new head coach. Victoria Belloc has taken over coaching duties for the Spartans. And like David mentioned, biggest question here is the pitching. Unfortunately, the Spartans are currently without their ace in Elisa Tinen. She only pitched 2 innings to start the season. She hasn't been back. She's dealing with a back injury. We don't know how long she's going to be out, but it's it's going to be for the foreseeable future from what I'm hearing. So David mentioned these 2 new girls in Abriana Montiel and Aya Ramos. Ramos is just a freshman. Montiel is a senior, first time pitching on varsity. So it's going to be interesting to see how these girls can handle going through the rest of the season. So far, they've been battle-tested right off the bat, going up against CDO and South Point Catholic, who they competed against for that 4A state title last year. These 2 pitchers did a pretty solid job early on in the game, but as the game went on, they just lost their gas and their momentum. Also, the outfield. The outfield is my biggest concern here. They are very young, inexperienced, and that has shown so far. But the bright side here is if they can find some ways to win, and if they do get Tinen back towards the end of the year, then the biggest key here is they have to win these critical games during region play. Win the region, and hey, during the postseason, who knows what could happen. By that point, the outfield is going to be more experienced. They're going to have some idea of what's going on and what they're doing. And with Tinen back, possibly, you're going to have these 2 other pitchers who are going to be experienced, and they're going to be able to provide some of that relief for Tinen. David, what is your second team to watch?
Second team's going to be another 4A team we got. We got Poston Butte. Poston Butte's coming off. They're looking for some redemption in 2022 this year. They didn't make it to the finals. They lost to eventual champion South Point Catholic last year in the playoffs, but they're ready to make a comeback and fight for a title this year, I think. They have a very good senior core in Caitlyn Westover, Samantha Brizuela, and Emma Kerr. They're going to be big pieces for them this year, and a freshman to look out for as well is Haley Lopez. She can hit very well, and she's done well pitching as well. Pitching too. She's got a 2.55 ERA so far right now in this season, and she struck out 11 batters in her couple outings that she's had so far. So they got great pitching, they got great hitting, and this team is dangerous and could make some serious noise this year.
All right, so we got to talk about this Lopez kid. For as long as I've been here, I am yet to cover a Poston Butte softball team that does not have a Lopez on the team. First, it was Lindsey Lopez. She is now pitching for ASU. Afterwards, it was Kayla Lopez, who is now at CAC, and now we have freshman Haley Lopez. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one does compared to her 2 older sisters, and how her game differentiates from them. Speaking of sisters, David mentioned Caitlyn Westover. I got to talk about the freshman here in Kimberly Westover. Just like Haley, Kimberly has posted some very impressive numbers so far this season. Poston Butte is currently 7-3 on the season. They've played a lot of tournament games, and Kimberly is batting 4.84. She has 15 hits, 14 RBIs already. So, the future is bright for the littlest Westover. Speaking of the older Westover and Caitlyn, last year was a little bit of an off season for her in the circle, but this year, she's finding her rhythm early on, and she's also posted some impressive numbers in the circle. 38 innings pitched already, 43 strikeouts, and she has a 2.58 ERA. I'm thinking Post and Butte and Vista Grande are going to be the two teams battling it out for that top spot in the 4A Black Canyon region. So we're going to have to follow along this season and see how that turns out. David, what's your last team to watch?
Yeah, last team we're going to go down from 4A to 2A with Santa Cruz. The Dust Devils could surprise a lot of people this year for me. They went 11-3 last year, competed in the 2A state tournament, and the biggest thing about this SC team is that they are so young. They are really young. They have not a single senior on their roster, but that doesn't stop them at all. They're young, they're powerful, and they're hungry. This team looks really interesting to watch, and I can't wait to watch them soon. So they have a solid core of juniors that are going to be, and some standout underclassmen as well. But for me, you got to watch out for Leyland Tarango. Because she's a stud. She batted .407 at the dish last year, pitched 86 innings last year as well. So she's a great hitter, great pitcher. Those are always great, aspects to have. And then also look out for Tatiana Reyes. Reyes is going to play a big role for this team. She's a freshman who, in their last game against Eastmark, she went 2 for 4 with a walk at the plate, and then she also pitched in that game and only gave up 2 runs. So she's going to be a great person to watch out for. She's a big freshman on this team that could really make some noise for them this year and in the years to come while this team grows and develops. And like I said again, it's just crazy how this team is so young but yet are so talented, and they're able to do these things. They competed in the playoffs last year. I expect them to be in the playoffs again this year. We'll see how the rest of the season shakes out, but Santa Cruz is definitely a team to watch for me.
I agree with David on this. So the crucial part here for the Dust Devils is they haven't been able to garner that full season and that experience. When all these girls who are now juniors were freshmen, that was 2020. That's when the spring season got canceled very early. And last year, you still had the COVID going on, games getting canceled and everything, so they still didn't have that full season. But to be able to make it to the 2A state tournament last year, that's a pretty big deal, a big accomplishment. And also you got to credit head coach Andrea James. This season she is about 10 games away from winning her 300th career as a coach for the Dust Devils, so also we got to be on the lookout for that. But the crucial game is happening this week on Tuesday. They are traveling to Benson, who is the state runner-up in the 2A conference. And last year during this matchup, Benson really nailed Santa Cruz big time. Complete blowout win for Benson. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team performs this time around, even though it's early on in the season, and what these juniors and sophomores can do. David mentioned Raylan Tarango. We also got to point out a couple other returning juniors in Isabella Davis and Yelana Velasco, 2 of the top hitters for Santa Cruz. And like David mentioned, pitching here is going to be key. Yes, you have Tarango, who pitched a lot last year, and you also have Reyes coming in this year as a freshman. So it's going to be interesting to see how this duo performs in the circle, which is kind of where Santa Cruz struggled last year with only having Tarango there. David, is there anything else you want to add overall?
Not really. Just go out and support your local softball teams. It's the best time of the year for you. You're a big softball fan. I'm a big baseball fan, so we're right in our alleys here with this one. So I'm looking forward to this year. It should be fun.
All right, and that does it for this Pinal Prep Spotlight. Be sure to check out Pinal Central all season long.